By now, most players are aware that Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach is a bit of a buggy game. Sometimes these bugs aid speedrunners and allow the game to be cleared in a mind-blowingly short time. Other times, they hinder those playing the game normally, seeming to worm their way into situations that they shouldn't be able to, which causes the player to lose or force them to reset. And then there's the downright strange occurrences that probably would never show up during a speedrun or normal playthrough of the game. The Daycare is a prime example of this third type of occurrence, where it has quite an interesting result. Normally, we'd enter and take a trip down the slide, be greeted by the sun, and then entertain the idea of drinking Fizzy Faz until our head explodes. Although the sun rambles on about things we could do, he doesn't much like the idea of letting us move. At all. But we're going to do so anyway. To be precise, we're going to move up and out of the room until it unloads. Our friend is still dancing away down there, and not to leave him hanging too long, we descend again, and welcome our second friend, who just so happens to also be the sun. This is how one duplicates the sun. Simply unloading and reloading the room during this segment causes the game to load in another copy of him. Now that we have two suns, the fun is obviously doubled, but not so fast. If you watched other videos where people mess with the game and spawned in hordes of enemies, you likely noticed how those enemies don't do much but stand around. As shown here, if we use a hack to spawn the sun into the game, he very much does absolutely nothing. It doesn't matter if we spawn in 1, 2, 10, or over 50, they all just stand there and dance, paying the player no heed whatsoever. Fortunately, when duplicating the sun with our trick here, that is not the case. Both suns react to the player and give chase. In fact, they do it completely synced up. Take one step outside the playground, and the two spring into action at the drop of a hat. Both suns can pick up the player too. Well, two friendly suns isn't much of a party. Let's bring a few more in. That's right, this isn't a one-time deal. Continuously repeating the trick of unloading and reloading the area will add another sun to the party. Let's bring in a total of 10. Gregory isn't going anywhere at this point. He's surrounded on all sides. You may think that hitting the distraction would pull their attention away, but for reasons I'm unsure of, it only pulls the attention of the original sun. That said, the copy's ability to pick up Gregory is incredibly hit or miss, so getting away isn't all that difficult. When they do pick him up, however, things get weird. Most of the time, we're simply pushed beneath the ground like so. The game will continuously try to reset Gregory's position every few seconds, which is why you're seeing the camera suddenly drop. Usually, this results in a soft lock until we disable collision, but sometimes we'll just get pushed out of it. Other times, when they pick him up, we're teleported back to the location the sun would carry Gregory to normally. And then, there's the instances where we're tossed around between the various suns before winding back up to the same location. And finally, we had that one really disturbing time where all the suns picked up Gregory simultaneously. Those off screen at the time came sliding in, and that's literally with their hands already held out as if holding something. So why stop at 10 suns? With time, we're able to get many more in on the party, to the point the whole place is swarming with them. And while that's great and all, why don't we move on to the next part of the Daycare sequence? While it would be incredibly epic to see all the suns turn to moons, the game instead deletes all but the original and carries on, proving that the moon really is a party pooper. But it's not the last we'll see of the sun. If we once again rise to the ceiling of the Daycare, letting it unload, and then descend back into it, our good pal the sun will make an entrance. And just like last time, we can repeat it to have many more join the fray. It probably goes without saying that adding the sun, or multiple of him, to this part makes it very difficult. Getting caught by him can combo into getting jump scared by the moon. Fortunately, however, it doesn't really matter, as unloading and reloading this area to get the sun here also breaks the room. The generators have all turned on despite the lights remaining off. Our mission tab on the watch even shows that all 5 have been turned on, although the objective isn't checked. To put it simply, we're stuck. And if we attempt to break out the Daycare to the next objective point, we're instantly grabbed by the moon, no matter which hacks we're using. As we noted in another video, just as you cannot hide from the moon, you can also not save yourself with cheats. Well, except it would seem there are 2 versions of the moon. Allow me to briefly explain. The moon that jump scares you no matter what is the one that puts a starry overlay on the screen. In our first encounter with the moon, that overlay is not on the screen. This would be the other version of the moon, the version that we can run away from. And why don't we do just that? I mean, why keep the party limited to the Daycare? Once the room unloads, the animatronics within have the ability to exit. The sun and moon are programmed to always chase the player if they're outside of a set area. For the sun, that would be the spot it carries you to or within the playground. For the moon, that would be behind the security desk. So long as we're not in those locations, no matter where we are in Freddy Fazbear's Mega Pizzaplex, these two will give chase. We can lure the horde outside the daycare, all the way down the long stretch of the hallway, and out into the main lobby. It's interesting to note that the dark effect from the lights being off persists out here too. But, well, we already covered the topic of how the game would be if the moon followed you, so we'll cut that short here. Okay, we just spent some time talking about how we can add more sons to the game, but as a bonus fact, we can also delete him from the game. In another accidental discovery, if one enters the daycare and proceeds down the slide as normal, clips through the wall of the ball pit, and returns to it from the opposite side, the sun will pop up and lift Gregory into the air. This is all without the sun having made an appearance on the balcony. Now, if we make a distraction and return to the ball pit once more, we can trigger the balcony introduction and the sun will dive into the ball pit, never to return to the surface. He's no longer anywhere in the daycare. Even if we go to the spot he should appear from in the ball pit, nothing happens. He's gone until we go to the security desk and initiate the cutscene that turns him into the moon. And there you have it, a weird duplication bug that, as far as we know at this time, is exclusive to the sun in the daycare. I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe now for more content just like this, and I'll see you all soon on HorrorScoped. Cheers!